On July 31st, 2022, a 17-year-old girl named Mackenzie Shirilla drove her Toyota Camry into a brick wall at 100 miles per hour. 2 passengers died on impact. She walked away. The judge called her, quote, hell on wheels. She was convicted of murder, sentenced to 15 years to life. And every single appeal her family has filed since then has been rejected by every court that's heard it. Now, Netflix has released a documentary called The Crash, and the case is back in every conversation on YouTube, TikTok, and true crime forums across America. In the next 15 minutes, I'm going to walk you through exactly what happened on that dead-end street in Ohio, what prosecutors say she did in the 2 weeks before the crash, the body cam footage that became the most quoted evidence of the entire trial, the medical episode defense her family is still pushing in 2026, and the latest court ruling from March of this year that may have ended her appeals for good. If you watched the Netflix documentary, you only saw part of this story. If you've been following the case from the beginning, you probably still don't know the full timeline. And if you've never heard of Mackenzie Shirilla before today, by the end of this video, you'll understand why 3 separate Ohio courts and the Ohio Supreme Court have all reached the same conclusion. Stick with me. This one matters. What happened that night, July 31st, 2022? Strongsville, Ohio, a quiet suburb of Cleveland. Around 8 in the morning, Mackenzie Shirilla, 17 years old, gets into a Toyota Camry with her boyfriend Dominic Russo, 20 years old, and his friend Davion Flanagan, 19 years old. She drives them into the 11,700 block of Alameda Drive, a dead-end street inside an industrial business park. What happens next is what the trial would later center on. According to Cuyahoga County prosecutors, Mackenzie did not slow down. She did not turn around at the dead end. She did not hit the brakes. She accelerated. The Toyota Camry reached approximately 100 miles per hour before it slammed into a brick building at the end of the street. Dominic Russo died at the scene. Davion Flanagan died at the scene. Mackenzie Shirilla survived. When investigators arrived, they found psilocybin mushrooms and a digital scale at the crash site. Those drug findings would later become part of the criminal case. And that's where the case immediately divides into 2 completely different stories: the prosecution story and the family story. For the next 4 years, both sides have been fighting over the same question. Was this a horrific accident, or was it murder? What prosecutors say she did in the weeks before. Here's what made this case so disturbing for the prosecution. It wasn't just the speed. It wasn't just the dead-end street. It was what Mackenzie Shirilla had allegedly said and done in the weeks leading up to that morning. According to court documents and the Cuyahoga County prosecutors' filings, the relationship between Mackenzie and Dominic Russo was described as toxic by family members and friends. Witnesses testified that the couple fought frequently, loudly, publicly. 2 weeks before the crash, prosecutors say something specific happened. Mackenzie was driving with Dominic in the passenger seat. They got into an argument. According to the prosecutor's filing, she threatened to crash the car. Dominic called his mother. He asked to be picked up. A friend went to get him. That was 2 weeks before he died in the same car, with her behind the wheel, driving 100 miles per hour into a wall. Prosecutors also presented evidence that Mackenzie had made what they called increasingly violent and threatening comments in the days leading up to the crash. The prosecution's theory was simple. This wasn't impulsive. This was planned. Why drive to a dead-end industrial street at 8 in the morning? Why accelerate to 100 miles per hour with no traffic, no obstacles, and nowhere to go? Why not hit the brakes? The prosecution had a one-word answer for all of it: intent, and they had the video to prove it. The body cam and the judge's devastating quote: when police arrived at the crash site, their body cams were recording. That footage would later become evidence in the trial, and portions of it would become some of the most quoted material in the entire case. Mackenzie Shirilla had survived the crash. She was injured but conscious. Her behavior and statements in those first moments after the crash were captured on video. And those moments were watched by the judge, the prosecution, the defense, and the entire jury pool that followed the case. But the most damning piece of video evidence wasn't the body cam. It was the traffic surveillance footage that captured Mackenzie's drive in the moments before the crash. The video shows her car traveling normally at first. Then something changes. The car accelerates. It doesn't slow down at the dead end. It doesn't swerve. It maintains a straight line directly into the brick wall. Mackenzie Shirilla's case went to a bench trial in August 2023. A bench trial means no jury, just a judge deciding the verdict. Judge Nancy Margaret Russo of the Cuyahoga County Court of Common Pleas presided over the case. On August 14, 2023, she delivered the verdict. Guilty on 12 counts including murder, aggravated vehicular homicide, felonious assault, drug possession, and possession of criminal tools. And then she said something that became the headline of the entire case. Looking directly at the courtroom, referring to the surveillance video, Judge Russo said, quote, "She morphs from a responsible driver to literal hell on wheels as she makes her way down the street." Then she added, quote, "She had a mission and she executed it with precision." A mission, executed with precision. That language matters, because under Ohio law, those words describe one thing: intent. An intent transforms a tragic accident into murder. Mackenzie Shirilla was sentenced to 15 years to life. She would not be eligible for parole until September 2037. The appeals that kept getting denied, here's where the story takes its next turn. Mackenzie Shirilla's family did not accept the verdict. They have never accepted the verdict, and they have spent the last 3 years fighting it in every court that would hear them. September 2023, the first appeal is filed. September 2024, the Ohio 8th District Court of Appeals upholds the conviction. The first appeal is denied. February 2025, her legal team files an appeal to the Ohio Supreme Court. May 2025, the Ohio Supreme Court declines to even hear the case. The second appeal is denied. Then her team tries again with a petition for post-conviction relief. This is a different kind of legal motion. It claims new evidence or constitutional violations during the original trial. The trial court dismisses the petition as untimely, meaning her legal team missed the filing deadline. March 12, 2026. The 8th District Court of Appeals issues its ruling. The court affirms the dismissal. The third appeal is denied. Legal expert Joelle Petuto told Parade magazine in May 2026, quote, "I think she is done." She added that the Ohio Supreme Court is unlikely to hear the case again. And while federal court action remains a remote possibility through constitutional claims like ineffective assistance of counsel, that path is narrow. 3 separate Ohio courts, the Ohio Supreme Court, all have reached the same conclusion: the conviction stands. But that hasn't stopped the family from telling a completely different story. The Netflix documentary and the fallout in 2026, Netflix released a documentary called The Crash. It walked viewers through the case from the beginning. The toxic relationship, the crash, the trial, the conviction, the appeals. It featured interviews with people on every side of the story, including Mackenzie's father, Steve Shirilla. What Steve Shirilla said in his interview created a wave of public backlash that nobody saw coming. Viewers objected to his attitude about his daughter's marijuana use before the crash. They objected to his dismissal of claims that Mackenzie had told a classmate to end their life. Steve Shirilla worked as an art and digital media teacher at Mary Queen of Peace School in Cleveland. On May 18, 2026, after the documentary aired, the school placed him on administrative leave. The official reason cited was that he had, quote, demonstrated poor judgment in the interview. But the Shirilla family did not stop fighting. Mackenzie's Instagram account, run by her family, started posting new content. Text messages between Mackenzie and Dominic Russo, screenshots of legal documents, and most importantly, expert testimony from her dismissed appeal. The expert testimony, according to the family's posts, supports their long-standing theory that Mackenzie didn't intentionally crash the car, that she had a medical episode, that she passed out behind the wheel, that what looked like a deliberate 100-mile-per-hour acceleration into a brick wall was actually a teenager who lost consciousness. The medical episode defense is the family's central theory. It's what they have argued from the beginning, and it's what every court has so far rejected. But with the Netflix documentary keeping the case in the public eye, and the family continuing to post evidence on Mackenzie's behalf from prison, the debate keeps going on social media platforms like TikTok, Reddit, and Twitter. For true crime followers, this is exactly the kind of case that refuses to die. What happens next and why it matters. Mackenzie Shirilla is currently serving her sentence at the Ohio Reformatory for Women in Marysville, Ohio. She is 21 years old. She will not be eligible for parole until September 2037. That's 11 years from now. She will be 32 years old at her first parole hearing. The legal options remaining for her family are narrow. Federal court is technically possible through a constitutional claim. Specifically, ineffective assistance of counsel, the argument that her original legal team failed her, including by missing the filing date on the post-conviction petition. But legal experts have already told major news outlets that the chances of a federal court taking the case are extremely low. In the meantime, her family continues to post on her behalf, continues to claim her innocence, continues to push the medical episode theory, and the Netflix documentary will continue to drive search traffic and public debate about the case for months to come. Here's the bigger picture that gets lost in every retelling. 2 young men died that morning in 2022. Dominic Russo was 20 years old. Davion Flanagan was 19. Their families have lived with this case for almost 4 years, through the trial, through every appeal, through the Netflix documentary that brought it all back. Whatever you believe about Mackenzie Shirilla, whether you trust the prosecution's intent theory, or whether you believe the family's medical episode defense, 2 facts are not in dispute. 2 people died. And every Ohio court that has reviewed the case has reached the same conclusion. This was murder. The conviction stands. The appeals have been exhausted. The sentence remains 15 years to life. And in September 2037, when Mackenzie Shirilla walks into her first parole hearing at 32 years old, the families of Dominic Russo and Davion Flanagan will still be there, still asking the same questions everyone watching this case has been asking since that morning on Alameda Drive. What really happened and why? So here's my question for you. After everything we just walked through, the surveillance video, the prior threats, the judge's verdict, the 3 denied appeals, and the family's medical episode defense, what do you actually believe? Was this murder? Or was this a tragic medical episode that the courts got wrong? Drop your honest take in the comments. Be respectful. There are real families on every side of this case watching. And while you're down there, smash the like button if this video gave you the most complete breakdown of the case you've seen so far. Then hit subscribe and turn on notifications for more deep dives on the cases and stories everyone is searching. This is Hype Frame TV. New deep dives every Friday. Shorts and breaking stories every Monday. If it's trending, shocking, or about to break the internet, we're already on it. Always one frame ahead.